Hello students, in this session we are going to learn the second unit, that is memory management. The content of this unit we are going to see the memory management in 80386. So the first bit is segment translation, second bit is page translation, and third one is combining segment and page translation. If you remember this architecture of 80386, we have seen this memory management unit, right? This memory management unit is made up of segmentation unit and paging unit. Now we are going to use this segmentation unit and paging unit in process of segment translation and page translation. Let's see how these both units are used in the translation. Basically, there are three address spaces of 80386. The first address space is logical address space, second is linear address space, third is physical address space. Machine language programs use these logical addresses for both instruction and operand addresses. For example, whatever the code we write, it is stored in code segment. Sequentially, all the instructions will be stored in the code segment. So every instruction will be having some address, right? Segmentation unit translates this logical address into a 32-bit linear address space. That means here this logical address space gets converted to linear address space. Who does this conversion? The segmentation unit, right? So when paging unit is enabled, paging unit translates the linear address into the physical address space. So whenever the paging unit is enabled, this linear address space is converted to physical address space. If suppose the paging unit is disabled, the linear address corresponds to the physical address. Okay. Next. Now, this logical address consists of a segment selector and offset. So this selector is available in segment register. The offset is calculated by the processor by adding base, that is base address, index, displacement fields, right? So the segmentation unit converts this logical address to linear address using the segment descriptors indicated by the segment selector. So we are going to see the basic diagram for segment translation. In this, the concept will get clear how the segment selector is used and how the offset is used. Next is linear address. So when the paging is disabled, the linear address is actually the physical address, and when it is enabled, the linear address is converted to physical address through paging. Now this is the memory address translation which is occurring in CPU when the paging is enabled, right? So this is your assembly instructions in the program. Every instruction has a logical address. This segmentation unit converts the logical address into linear address. If the paging unit is enabled, then this linear address is converted to physical address, right? But if paging unit is disabled, then this linear address will be considered as the physical address, right? The physical address, that is the effective address, whatever the data will be having, will be stored temporarily on the chip, and then we will be storing it in the RAM modules. This logical address is made up of two fields known as selector and offset. Linear address is made up of directory, table and offset, and physical address doesn't has any fields. Let's see in detail the segment translation. The first bit of this unit, that is segment translation. So 80386 transforms logical addresses, that is the addresses as viewed by the programmers, into physical address, that is actual address in physical memory, in two steps. First step will be segment translation. Second step will be page translation. So what happens in segment translation? In which a logical address consisting of a segment selector and segment offset are converted to a linear address. लॉजिकल एड्रेस में क्या क्या है? सेगमेंट सिलेक्टर है एंड ऑफसेट है, एंड दीज आर कन्वर्टेड टू लीनियर एड्रेस. पेज ट्रांसलेशन, in which a linear address is converted to physical address. So this is the step which is optional, right, and at the discretion of system software designers. Now this is the address translation overview. Logical address has two fields, selector and offset. Offset is of 32-bit and selector is of 16 bits. So whenever a segment translation occurs, we will get a linear address, right? So at that linear address, we are going to check whether the paging is enabled. If the paging is enabled, then the linear address which we got through the segment translation, then the page translation will be done based on this linear address and we will get the physical address. If the paging is disabled, then this linear address will be considered as the physical address. This linear address is also of 32-bit, having three fields: directory, page and offset. Physical address doesn't has any fields and these are made up of 32 bits. So let's see the figure in more detail, how the processor converts a logical address into a linear address. Okay, to perform this segment translation we need four data structures, and these four data structures are descriptors, descriptor tables, selectors and segment registers. I repeat once again: descriptor, descriptor tables, selectors and segment registers. So this is the basic diagram for segment translation. This logical address, which is made up of selector, which is of 16 bits and offset of 32 bit. This selector will be pointing to the segment descriptor which is present in the descriptor table. Now what do you mean by a segment descriptor? I give one simple example. Every student has his or her iCard, identity card. On that identity card, the information related to the student is present: name, roll number, GR number, division, branch, address, permanent address, local address, blood group, photo, academic year, right? So that identity card describes the student, right? That identity card describes the student. Now, every segment in 80386 we have segments like code segment, data segment, extra segment, stack segment, FS and GS. So every segment will be having its own descriptor which describes that respective segment, right? So this selector will be selecting a segment descriptor which is present in the descriptor table. So from this segment descriptor we will get the base address of that respective segment. Suppose we want to access the code segment, right? Then the code segment descriptor will be here, and in this descriptor the code segment base address is present, right? So this base address is added with offset, then we get the linear address which is again of 32 bit, which has three fields: directory, page and offset. Now let's see the first data structure, descriptors, right? Just now I said that the descriptors will work as an identity card for that, same like identity card for every segment, right? So there are two types of descriptor formats: the descriptors which are used for applications code and data segment. Code and data segment descriptor format is different, And we have the second format, that is descriptor used for special system segments. Okay, so let's see these fields one by one. See, this descriptor is made up of 0 to 31, that means 32 bit. Now in this, the segment base is divided into three fragments, is divided into three chunks, three parts, right? So segment base address 0 to 15 is present here, 16 to 23 is present here, and 24 to 31 is present here, right? Then next we have a segment limit. It is divided into two fragments. This is 0 to 15 and 16 to 19, that means 20 bit. Segment base address is of 32 bit and limit is of 20 bit. Then we have a access bit, that is A. Then we have the type bit, it indicates which type of segment it is. Then the next bit is 1. Then we have descriptor privilege level. This we are going to study in the third unit. Then we have P bit, that is segment present bit. Then we have available for use by segment programmers, this bit, and these are the unused bit, and we have the granularity bit, right? These are the fields present in code and data segments. Now let's see the fields present for spatial system segments, right? So segment base address is 0 to 15, first chunk or first fragment. Second fragment is 16 to 23, and third is 24 to 31. The next we limit is divided into two fragments, 0 to 15 and 16 to 19. We don't have here access bit in this spatial system segments. We have only type field, right? Then we have DPL, present bit, AVL, and that is available for use by system programmers, and we have the granularity bit. Only the A bit is not present, and the one bit which was present here, it is now 0 for special system segments. Okay, now let's see in detail the description of that diagram. In exam also you will be getting 10 marks question or 8 mark question. You should have a practice of drawing these diagrams. Read the question properly, what type of descriptor has been asked, and according to that you are going to draw the diagram. A lot of practice is needed in this second unit for diagrams. You are going to just draw the diagram and describe that diagram. Okay, so let's see the description of that diagram. So the segment descriptor provides the processor with the data it needs to map a logical address into a linear address, right? I want to do the mapping of logical address to linear address using the segmentation unit. So for that I need a segment descriptor, right? So this segment descriptor will provide the processor with the data. जो कुछ भी प्रोसेसर को डेटा नीड होगा वो related to that segment will be provided by segment descriptor, right? So these descriptors are created by compiler, linkers, loader, or the operating system, and not by the application programmers. Okay, now just now we have seen the two general descriptor formats. So all types of segment descriptor take one of these formats. Okay, segment descriptor fields are base. So the first field is your base address, that is base, defines the location of the segment within the 4 GB linear address space. See, the memory of 80386 is made up of 4 GB. So in that 4 GB, if we are searching for suppose data segment descriptor, then we should know where it has been stored. So in that descriptor, the base address of that data segment is present, right? So it defines the location of the segment within the 4 GB linear address space. The processor concatenates the 3 fragments of base address to form a single 32 bit. So these are the 3 fragments, 0 to 15, 16 to 23, and 24 to 31. These are concatenated and a 32 bit address is generated. Okay, next, limit. It defines the size of the segment, right? When the processor concatenates the two parts of the limit field, a 20 bit value results. Now, since here This limit field is divided into two fragments, 0 to 15 and 16 to 19. A 20-bit limit is we got the size in which the size of the segment can be stored. So the processor interprets the limit field in one of two ways depending on the setting of the granularity bit. In units of 1 byte, to define a limit of up to 1 megabyte, right? If you are measuring in terms of 1 byte, then the limit will be up to of 1 megabytes. If the unit of measuring is 4 kilobytes, then to define a limit of up to 4 GB, right? So the limit is shifted left by 12 bits when loaded and low order 1 bits are inserted. Granularity bit. This specifies the unit with which the limit field is interpreted. So when the bit is clear, the limit is interpreted in units of 1 byte. When set, the limit is interpreted in units of 4 kilobytes. That means when the granularity bit is 0, then your limit is interpreted in units of 1 byte, right? And when the granularity bit is equal to 1, the limit is interpreted in units of 4 KB. Okay. Type field, it distinguishes between various kinds of descriptors. DPL, descriptor privilege level. This is used by the protection mechanism. We are going to study this protection mechanism in the next unit, third unit. The next is the segment present bit. If this bit is 0, the descriptor is not valid for use in address transformation. The processor will signal an exception when a selector for the descriptor is loaded into a segment register. See, the present bit is 0 here, this one. If it is 0, then the processor will throw an exception whenever the selector for that descriptor is loaded into a segment register, right? So when the selector is loaded into the segment register for this descriptor, then it will throw an exception that this segment is not valid for use. Okay. So the figure shows the format of a descriptor when the present bit is 0. Here the present bit is 0. So the operating system is free to use the location marked available. When the present bit is 0, then all the locations like base address, limit field, granularity field, this will be available to the operating system for use. Okay. So the operating system that implements segment based virtual memory clear the present bit in either of these cases. So when this operating system will put present bit 0, so there are two cases. When the linear address space spanned by the segment is not mapped by the paging mechanism. That means the paging is disabled, then that linear address will be considered itself as a physical address. So therefore no further step is needed. At that time the present bit will become 0. Next, when the segment is not present in the memory, right? Whenever the segment is not fetched into the memory, then the present bit will be 0. Next, access bit. So the processor sets this bit when the segment is accessed. यानी वो segment access हुआ है actually. Then it will be set. It will become 1. That is, a selector for the descriptor is loaded into a segment register or used by a selector test instruction. That means जो selector है, selector for that respective segment descriptor is loaded into the segment register, then the access bit will be set to 1, right? So operating system that implement virtual memory at the segment level may by periodically testing and clearing this bit, monitor frequency of segment usage. So periodically, if it is accessed, then it will be set 1. If it is not accessed, then it will be set 0. Then the operating system will be continuously checking ki how many times this segment has been used. how many times the segment has been accessed, right? Next, creation and maintenance of descriptors is the responsibility of the system software, usually requiring the cooperation of compilers, program loaders, or system builders and threatening systems, right? So we the programmers can't build these descriptors. The operating system software, the compiler, the loader will be responsible for creating these descriptors as well as maintaining these descriptors. Next, the next data structure in segment translation is the descriptor table, right? So segment descriptors are stored in either of two kinds of descriptor table. If you remember this diagram very well, see, segment descriptors are stored in descriptor table, right? So there are two types of descriptor tables. Let's see in detail one by one. The first one is the global descriptor table, which stands for GDT. Second one is local descriptor table, that is LDT. Okay, a descriptor table is simply a memory array of 8-byte entries that contain descriptor, right? So a descriptor table is of variable in length and may contain up to 8192 descriptors. What is the count? It may contain 8192 descriptors in one table, right? So see here, this is the global descriptor table, right? And this is the local descriptor table. The first part of the GDT is unused, while in LDT it is not present. That means we use all the part of the LDT. Now, how to access these tables? I should know the base address of these tables. So the base address of these tables, or the addresses of these tables, are stored in two registers. First one is known as GDTR, that is Global Descriptor Table Register, and LDTR, that is Local Descriptor Table Register. So let's see in detail. The first entry of the GDT, that is index 0, is not used by the processor. This one, see, this is unused, the first index. Okay. Next, the processor locates the GDT and the current LDT in memory by means of GDTR and LDTR register. Memory में GDT and LDT, where it has been stored, so we need an address for that. So that address is stored in these two registers, GDTR and LDTR. These registers store the base addresses of the tables in the linear address space and store the segment limits. Okay, the instruction load, L stands for load GDT, and store GDT, SGDT stands for store GDT, gives access to the GDTR. That means to get the access for this register, we will be either using load GDT or store GDT, right? So the instruction LLDT and SLDT gives access to the LDTR. LLDT stands for load LDT and SLDT gives access to the LDR. SLDT stands for store LDT. It gives access to the LDTR. Now, the third data structure is selectors, right? So the selector portion, the selector. First we have seen segment descriptor. This is the first data structure. Second, the data structure is your descriptor table, right? Third data structure is the selector. Now we are going to see this selector. So selector portion of a logical address identifies a descriptor by specifying a descriptor table and indexing a descriptor within that table, right? So it points to the descriptor table and it has an index of the descriptor within that table, right? Selectors may be visible to application programs as a field within a pointer variable, but the values of selectors are usually assigned, that is fixed up, by linkers or linking loaders, right? So figure shows the format of a selector. So this selector is of 16-bit. It has 3 fields. First 2 bits are requester privilege level. The third bit is table indicator. And from the 4th to 15th bit we have index. So let's see in detail. So the index selects one of 8192 descriptor in a descriptor table. Just now we have seen either in GDT or in LDT we have 8192 descriptors. So out of that 8192 descriptors we will be selecting only one, right? So the processor simply multiply this index value by 8, that is the length of the descriptor, and adds the result to the base address of the descriptor table in order to access the appropriate segment descriptor in the table, right? See, I want to access segment descriptor in the table. So what I will do, I will multiply that index value by 8 and add the result to the base address of that descriptor table. Okay. Now, table indicator. It specifies to which descriptor table the selector refers, right? Suppose I want to access a code segment, then that code segment descriptor should have a value of that respective selector. So a 0 indicates the GDT, a 1 indicates the current LDT. Okay, so in the table indicator we will if I write 0, then that means I am referring to GDT. If I write 1, then it means I am referring LDT, right? Next is requested privilege level. So this is used by the protection mechanism, right? So because the first entry of the GDT is not used by the processor, a selector that has an index of 0 and a table indicator of 0, that is a selector that points to the first entry of the GDT, can be used as a null selector. See, first entry of the GDT, we know that is index 0 is not used, right? So a selector that has an index of 0, जिस selector में 0 है, then and a table indicator of 0, TI भी 0 है, then that is known as a null selector. That is known as a null selector. The processor does not cause an exception when a segment register other than CS or SS is loaded with a null selector. See, always keep it in mind that the code segment and stack segment will not be null. Other segments can be null. Okay. See what they have said. The processor does not cause an exception when a segment register is loaded with a null selector. Right? If suppose a segment register which has a base address of data segment and it is loaded with a null selector, then it is okay. But if your code segment register is loaded with the base address of code segment, then your code segment will not be null, right? So therefore, the processor does not cause an exception when a segment register is loaded with a null selector other than code or SS. It will, however, cause an exception when the segment register is used to access the memory. So this feature is useful for initializing unused segment register so as to trap accidental references. Now the fourth data structure is segment registers. So in this we have two parts, 16-bit visible selector, right? So this is your segment register which is visible to us and we use this, right? By the this part is used by the programmer, and this is the hidden descriptor. This is invisible to us, we can't use this. Okay, so we have code segment, stat segment, data segment, extra segment, fs and gs. So the 16-bit visible selector is used. This is your segment register. Okay, next, the 8086 386 stores information from descriptors in segment registers, thereby avoiding the need to consult a descriptor table every time it accesses memory. See, what is it has been done, what the 386 does, instead of referring always that descriptor table, the information of that descriptor is stored in the segment register. So what a kind of information can be stored in segment register? Only the base address, right? So every segment register has a visible portion and an invisible portion as shown in the figure. So the visible portion of this segment address register are manipulated by programs as if they were simply 16-bit registers, right? So the invisible portions are manipulated by the processor. See, whatever the visible portion is there, we the programmer user can change it, and whatever the invisible part is there, hidden part is there, it will be accessed by the processor. Okay, the operation that load these registers are normal program instructions, right? So these instructions are of two classes. Direct load instructions, for example, we can use move instruction, pop instruction. LDS stands for load data segment, LSS stands for load stack segment, LGS, LFS. These instructions explicitly reference the segment registers, right? Implied load instructions like, for example, far call and jump. These instructions implicitly reference the CS register and load it with a new value. So using these instructions, a program loads the visible part of the segment register with a 16-bit selector, right? So the processor automatically fetches the base address, limit, type and other information from a descriptor table and loads them into a invisible part of the segment register, right? Because most of the instructions refer to data in segments whose selectors have already been loaded into segment register, the processor can add the segment relative offset supplied by the instruction to the segment base address with no additional overhead. See what has been said here. What is present in the segment register? The base address. So here most of the instructions refer to data in the segments, right? Whose selectors have already been loaded into the segment register. Every segment selectors are loaded into segment registers, respective segment registers. So the processor can add the segment relative offset supplied by the instruction to the segment base address with no additional overhead. So that means every segment register will be having the segment base address, right?